Welcome back to Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for our Vuelta España Preview 2025, brought to you by our show partner, Joy in Cycling. It is not actually the Tour of Spain. We are not doing a full lap of Spain, despite what the name suggests. We begin in Italy, and we don't even go to the south of Spain. More on that in a second. Of course, we're going to do this as normal. Route reaction and discussion, the polemics associated with that. GC riders. Who are the favourites? What teams do they have? Are their teams strong enough? Are there mixed ambitions in those teams? Sprinters. I think we're going to have a disagreement between me and Benji on the sprinters, which we'll get to. And then, of course, the stage-by-stage classifications before our picks for all the jerseys, finishing with our GC picks. Benji, I need you to tell everybody about your door situation, though.
So basically, during the last podcast recording, there was a bit of a situation where my office door is getting ruined over the last year. Not necessarily a specific reason for it, but it stopped working properly. And I couldn't exit my office. So I've been in this office for 2 days. No, that's not the actual reason. But let's just say that someone had to come this morning to fix it and it didn't work. So I feel like when this podcast is over, I might be stuck in this office again for the next hour until my wife can let me out, which is really sad.
But what is the problem?
It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't open, it doesn't lock. No, the actual door is misaligned. So when I close it, it gets stuck.
And then it can only be opened from the outside.
It's easier from the outside to do it. From the inside, you can't lift it up because, well, it's inside the door.
So I think Benji's basically been locked into his office by his wife. That's what me and Luke decided pre-recording to work 25 hours a day. So thoughts and prayers for Benji. Let's see if he makes it. Well, in fact, he has no choice to do this podcast because he is indeed locked where he is. We also have some electricity outages. We got crazy weather here in Andorra at the moment, so we'll try to persevere with this podcast. But like I said, the Vuelta begins in Italy. It's the third Grand Tour in a matter of 3 years, I think, that goes through Turin.
True.
We go from, which is, Turin must be rich.
Too much.
So
Turin must be stopped.
Turin, I think, that's an economic indicator. The economic indicators for buying property in a certain suburb is...
Yeah, but Turin is Juventus, right? I'm an AC Milan guy back in the day, so I have issues with Turin to begin with.
Turin is indeed Juventus, but yeah, cavoodles, flat whites, Range
What's
Rovers...
a cavoodle?
And Toby's a cavoodle. And
a dog.
Having 3 consecutive Grand Tours, these are indicators of economic prosperity, I would say. So Turin's obviously doing very well to pay for the Vuelta start. It is contiguous with, my geography is bad. It is not contiguous with Spain. It has to go through France to get to Spain. So there is no additional rest day, though, because all these countries are, connected to one another. We begin there. We go across, not a serious mountain stage, just like the Galibier was hard last year in the Tour de France when they came back through. We then have some Catalunya stages north of Girona, or familiar to many of the riders that live in Girona. We go to Andorra for one finish, which I'm keen to see. We then do some new climbs in the Thurler Huesca climb, which is really in like an uninhabited area to the west of Andorra.
I'm looking at this map, and I feel like the organizers said the south of Spain is lava because they're doing everything they can to avoid the side of Spain. But is it because of the heat, because of the lava air?
Let me check the temperature in Sevilla. They just did a junior race. Oh, Sevilla's not bad. It's like 34, highs of 34.
Yeah, but last year and the years before, it was a problem, no? In Cordoba, etc.
It's the frying pan of Spain. I believe the Mezquita in Cordoba. My mother just texted me. She told me that it had caught fire, but the fire was put out recently, so we are on top of the status of major religious sites in Europe. And they are avoiding...
mosquito, but...
No. I think it's money, Benji. The north of Spain is, like, the Basque Country is a wealthier area. Madrid is more wealthy. Andorra is wealthy.
Probably combination. Money, temperature... riders asking for less transfers?
Yeah, and also they always want to do the famous finishes in in Galicia, Cantabria, and the Asturias. They always want to do some famous climbs in Asturias, so they have to go there. But indeed, we don't have anything in, I mean, we've got nothing in Valencia. It's a major cycling touristic area. Nothing in Valencia, nothing in Murcia, nothing in the south, where you normally get these shorter rampas finishes. And so the route, it does make these design differences and choices, as it goes all the way to the north of the Portuguese, on the Portuguese border, and then comes back down and finishes in Madrid, of course. But what this means is not a traditional Vuelta route, in the sense that, Benji, there's not one rampas finish on this route less than 15 minutes. So there's no machucos, nothing like that.
No really steep short climbs, which you're right, that's a difference from the past. I vividly remember the Primoz Roglic finishes, but also back in the day, Joaquim Rodriguez loved himself a pretty short steep hill. But those riders were also pretty good at the slightly longer, steeper hill. So it's not like it was specifically to funnel victories to those riders either, I would say. But we've come to a year where it's slightly different, and I agree with you on that. But I would also say that when I look through the parcours, then I see, sure, in week one, a couple of opportunities for potential sprints, but then I look past week one and I'm starting to feel like, okay, based on week 2 and 3, don't expect too many sprinters to be at the start line.
Yeah, there are, as you said, there's a lot of, in the first week, like, oh, that's actually a pancake flat sprint. Now, maybe the wind can play a role, but then, weeks 2 and 3, it's not looking good for the sprinters. It's not even for the Mads Pedersen types. It's not looking good.
But back in the day, Cipollini, Petacchi go to a Grand Tour for 1 week, get 1-2 victories, dip out. Why do we not see in the sport of professional cycling teams with even a Merlier at Quickstep, just hypothetically for a second here, just naming a team with a sprinter, go to a Vuelta for the first week, try and secure a Grand Tour victory, and dipping out after 7 days? We say this multiple times per year, but this needs to come back. I'm sorry.
And then you can, I mean, the organizer technically, I think, can say it's not allowed, but Jordi Meus departed Swiss and did Copenhagen on the last day of Swiss, which you have to get permission to do either from the UCI or from the organizers. He won a stage in Swiss and then won Copenhagen. If you're the Vuelta organizers, I think you'd be happy if some better sprinters came and then they dipped out. That's better than the alternative. And there's not, I mean, you could do, if you're really greedy, you would do week 1 Vuelta, abandon on the first, and then continue your Grand Tour in the Tour of Britain, where there's 5 sprint stages, have a rest, and then you do Koolskamp, Super 8, Isberg, and the other minor sprint classics.
But
that's what Philipsen should do.
Is Philipsen completely back after his crash?
Yeah, at Hamburg he was good.
Right.
Hamburg he was good.
Yeah, I somewhat agree there, but also the Nui Tour exists, but then again, I don't think he's on the provisional start list for that.
No.
Philipsen. So,
I think he's going to do
Merlier
well,
is though. So, yeah, Bingo Bongo Tour is not as big as the Tour of North Spain.
They're trying to stop Tim Wellens. I mean, we're not doing a weekly show, but they're trying to stop Tim Wellens. They took out an ITT, so they're doing everything to stop him in the Bingo Bongo Renew Tour.
Still going to be difficult.
I still think so. I think it'll be difficult to beat him based on what he showed in the Tour de France. But yeah, hopefully we might get some rainy temperatures. We do have though some very, very famous steep finishes. Some you know, some you don't. The Anglerud, Bola del Mundo, Moradero, Farapona, Huesca, and maybe one more I've missed. And we also have a return of the Bilbao Côte de Piquet stage from the stage that Lefebvre won in the Vuelta, in the Tour. And I believe Lefebvre might be back, or maybe not.
Do we have an update on Bola del Mundo? I'm asking Luke in the chat, might be able to confirm, because Bola del Mundo is supposed to be the mountaintop finish on stage 20, but that is said to be an important place for biodiversity, etc. And local people or organizations are stepping up to complain and against the organizers right now to potentially move the finish to Puerto de Navacerrada, which is with about 5 kilometers to go. on that stage normally, removing the steep parts of that climb completely. So ideally, as a cycling fan, I'd like to see the actual finish of Bola del Mundo. I don't know what the inherent environmental reasons are for that to be requested at the moment, but hopefully, as a cycling fan, I can see the whole climb, because that goes back way to my childhood. Like Vincenzo Nibali, Ezequiel Mosquera, whatever his name was, fighting it out on the slopes of Bola del Mundo. That was pretty cool back when I was 14 or something.
And it's crazy, Steve. It's almost the hardest climb in the whole race. And that's one of the reasons why they do not finish the race up Sierra Nevada, up the top in Granada, because of environmental concerns, because the race is obviously a circus, and it's more also you're going to have thousands of people trampling the sides of the road. And what is most likely, as a general rule, if you're looking at the Vuelta, maybe you're a little bit nerdy like us, you're trying to go on Google Maps to analyze the route. If there's no Google Maps, like car imagery of the climb, then it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's going to be some absolute goat track, 20% wall that's as wide as your shoulders. And we're going to be in for some good viewing. But it also means that it's generally not very well visited. And I can understand why they might not want the race to go up Bola del Mundo.
In 2026, I am challenging you to a pro cycling GeoGuessr game.
That's what I really want. I wanted us to do a podcast when they're in our route reveals.
Yeah.
I want Rainbolt. I want Rainbolt to come on, and like we have a segment where he guesses parts of the route and where it is.
It will take him 1 second. It's a 1 second segment of the podcast. He will see a tree and he'll be like, "Those are Cordoba trees."
Yeah, but every Belgian village looks the same. So how's he going to tell them apart?
And then he has to guess which Belgian ChatGPT race it's from.
Exactly. Okay.
The real answer is every single one. They all use the same street.
Exactly. Well, speaking of, if it takes 1 second, speaking of some things that I hear, people say, I just don't have the time. That's one big thing we hear from cyclists, or maybe many of you listening who have jobs, or unlike us, you have kids, unlike us. Life can get messy, schedules change, and it feels impossible to commit to a proper training plan. But here's the thing, with Join Cycling, you don't need a perfect week or endless hours to get stronger. In fact, riders doing 5 to 7 hours get incredible results with Join Cycling. It adapts to your life. If you miss a ride, no problem. It adjusts, and there's no excuse not to get it. I was calculating how much I spent on coffee in Australia, and I'm pretty sure in almost in 1.5 days, and I do go crazy when I go back, in 1.5 days, I was spending more on coffee than I would on a month subscription. When you do the annual plan, you have to do the annual plan. That's where the value is on Join Cycling. The monthly cost when you're on the annual plan was less than like 1.5 coffees a day, just about in Australia for me. So there's no excuse. And I think the coffee and the caffeine is not making me go that much faster. If I'm frank, Join Cycling is making a much bigger difference for a much better price point. So whether you're a commuter, a weekend rider, or just want to enjoy your rides more, Join Cycling meets you where you are, adapts to you, and you can go down through the link in the show notes. So Join knows that we sent you, and you get the best value, as I said, with an annual subscription, less than 10 euros or USD a month. Which, yeah. Benji saves. He just has, I don't know what Benji drinks. He doesn't drink coffee.
Water. There's just water.
Really? That's crazy.
I don't need more than that. I just need water and Join Cycling. That's all I need to live.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. A paragon of health, because I do not just drink water. I need all sorts of carbonated beverages to get me through the day. Okay.
That's the age, my friend.
That's the age. I'm ready to do the Vuelta. I can do 2 Grand Tours a year. I got that, the K's in my legs.
Watch out, Ineos might give you a 3 years extension.
I try to convert. I mean, yeah, Anton Schiffer just got the Visma contract.
Yeah,
he could be a player coach. Sub me in.
Wait. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, like Schiffer is also like a high-level coach.
Yeah.
So he could be a player coach.
Yeah, but we don't do coaches here. We do joint cycling.
Exactly true. I'm just saying, put me in. I don't know who should put me in.
La Vuelta. Let's talk about it.
I want to do the yellow estuary race in China. That race looks sick.
What does that even mean?
It's a race. Okay, I'm off the.
Wait,
I'm off
fun
script.
fact. Last year, the Belgian government sent me a message to invite me to, as a Belgian diplomat, ride the Taiwan KOM challenge.
Why didn't you do it?
Because I can't get up that climb.
I was going to make a joke about Rwanda and the Belgian.
Vuelta. Let's talk about the Vuelta.
Are you sending a team? Benji is the reason they're not sending a team. He's the Belgian diplomat because he refuses to speak French, and it's a francophone country. So yeah,
je parle français, mon ami.
If you're a junior Belgian rider, you're not doing well, just blame Benji Naesen. Just contact him on Twitter. Make sure you do that. Or even if you're just an American and you want to troll him. Okay, the Vuelta start list. We have a heavy favorite, just like the Tour de France. Jonas Vingegaard comes here. He's $1.33. So I think that's about as short as Pog was for the Tour de France. Maybe Pog was a bit longer at points in the Dauphiné. Almeida's the second favorite at $6.50. His teammate, his frenemy, Juan Ayuso, is $7.50. Richard Carapaz is $15. Hasn't raced since the Giro. Ciccone, fifth favorite, $17. The destroyer of Del Toro. Jaberi, sixth favorite, $29. Derek G, also good at the Giro, $34. Bernal, $41. O'Connor, $41. Landa, $67. Jorgensen, $67. Hindley, $67. Gold, $67. Pellizzari, $67. Pidcock, $81. And Gegenhardt, who's not riding, $81. And Koos is $101 with Riccitello. That's where I'll end it. I think there's a reason Vingegaard's that short, Benji. It's because, he should win.
I think that's pretty straightforward, but it's not incorrect. Jonas Vingegaard is the best climber, best GC rider at the start line. He's also got a strong team around him. We'll go over the teams in a second. Broe, Almeida, Ayuso. That's the, I was going to say trident, but they only have two riders, so it's a bident. That sounds a bit weird. Carapaz, Ciccone, Tiberi. Those are riders that Carapaz has podium Grand Tours in the past. He nearly won a Vuelta back in 2021. Is that correct? 2020?
Yeah, he lost it only on bonus seconds to Roglic.
Because of Movistar pacing Roglic, the drama unfolded there.
on when Hofstede awaited, it might have been 2020. It was the COVID Vuelta.
Ciccone is an interesting one because on one end he's been successful recently, really strong at Burgos, of course, at San Sebastian, but he's also got the history that when it comes to GC and Grand Tours, he has not been the most consistent rider, crashed out a few times, of course, but also has never really delivered too many positions in GC at a Grand Tour. So do we know 100% for certain that he's going to go for GC?
We do not. So when you read the Trek press release, in fact, you have the opposite, or there's an interview rather with the Gazzetta dello Sport, where Ciccone says he wants to not worry about Watts, not worry about other things, and just go for ciclismo. And he was asked point blank by Ciro Scondomilio, he was asked point blank, what are your goals for the Vuelta? And I quote from the Gazzetta article, he says, stage wins and the KOM jersey to match with his ones he won in the Giro and the Tour. Taking care of in regard of the overall standings, I'd love to fight for the podium without Pogačar being here, but one thing or another hasn't worked out, and sometimes you aim high, chasing something that never arrives. It's better to go for what suits me best, and that is winning and putting on a show.
It's interesting because 95% of the time, I'd be the guy to say, I love it. I love that the rider steps up and gives himself a super realistic goal that he can clean KOM. He can get multiple stage wins at this Vuelta, but Ciccone has also been so good recently that I'm kind of want to see where he can get in GC, you know? It's
I think he should. I kind of don't believe him. I'm inclined to believe him, but it's one thing to say, I want to go for KOM and stages. It's one thing to do that. It's another thing to do what Leonard Kamner used to do on Bora, and on the first sprint stage, put your brakes on and lose 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm not confident that Ciccone on stage 2 will put his... I mean, he probably shouldn't because he can also win that stage, but I'm not confident on stage 1 he will put his brakes on to lose 10 minutes so he can win the break stages in week 1, which all suit him. I don't see it.
Also because on stage 2, stage 1 is on paper, we'll go into it in-depthly later, but it's sprints. So if we then look at stage 2, that's a climbing top finish. That's a stage where the red jersey will be up for grabs if the peloton goes for it. So taking that in mind, I think there is value to stay in GC for all GC riders on stage 1 and all potential candidates for the stage 1 on stage 2, because I'm not sure Breakaway is going to win that second stage necessarily. So we'll get to all of that in a second here. But
let's go through, while we're on the Trek subject, we needed to round them off. I mean, they just announced their team. Thanks very much, Trek. We love you. The press team there. But they do come with mixed ambitions, and that's perhaps why Ciccone doesn't want to mount a podium bid, because they come with Dan Ola, Andrea Baggioli, Julien Bernard, Carlos Verona, winner of a Giro stage, Gebregs Gabir, who can pull all day, Søren Kragh Andersen, who was solid in Denmark, and of course, Mads Pedersen. So...
Did you see what he said about Denmark? Pedersen? That he wasn't allowed to sprint, so he had to attack early because he wasn't allowed to sprint to make sure he doesn't get any crashes before the Vuelta.
Did they say that to him in Provence as well?
Well, Provence is a bit earlier in the season, so...
Yeah. I mean, on that point, though, there is no real lead out for him. There's no Ryan Gibbons who's retiring. There's no Vacek Söderqvist, what's his name? Consoni, Edward Turns. He has Danhola, who's at best a setup man, and then Søren Kragh. Now, horses for courses. There are some versatile sprint finishes where Søren Kragh Andersen is the man you want for the last K. But it's also a team that's very strong in controlling hard stages. With Danhola, Gebregs Gabir, and Verona and Bernard, you can control any breakaway on almost any terrain.
I think that's the most important factor here, because the reality is that Pedersen himself can get over a couple of climbs. The question is, can his teammates get over a couple of climbs to control a breakaway on a harder hill stage, a harder stage with a flat finish? That is where the question mark lies, and I would rather have a team that can get Mads Pedersen to the sprint in a relatively light sprint field, I don't think that's an understatement, than a team that can't control the stage, and breakaways might end up running away with it because it's a lighter sprint field, resulting in more teams maybe being willing to go in the breakaway on days.
And Visma, maybe Visma got a versatile sprinter, but they're not going to control because they go, oh, we have Jonas Vingegaard. We don't go for the sprint. And this is what the criticism we had of Trek 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. The stage, for a good example, is the stage Bergadeau won. There was also some Provence stages. They would send Pedersen to these versatile sprint stages where he was the out-and-out favorite, and to pull was Juan Pedro Lopez and Sam Omen, and like really small guys, and the break would win. And so I think you're right. That's what they're really looking at. And that's also maybe, I mean, Mads Pedersen is the biggest guy on Trek. He is really deciding what happens. And maybe Ciccone is thinking, okay, it's going to be easier for me to then have a GC bid to go for stages, but we'll see. It's nice to see Søren Kragh Andersen back in shape. I want to go to UAE, Benji.
Yes, let's go to UAE. Well, not the country, the team.
They have indeed two big young GC riders. Almeida's won maybe the second most World Tour races of anybody in cycling this year. He's won 3 one-week World Tour races. He comes here out of the Tour de France where he crashed, saw ribs, and then was up at altitude in Andorra shortly afterwards. Ayuso, there's been all the ruminations about, is he leaving the team, the buyout? He's raced San Sebastian and just Circuito de Getxo, not even Burgos, before the Vuelta, which was a little bit surprising. The press release was, because they announced the team very early, the press release was a bit contradictory. Almeida said, I'm happy to come to the Grand Tour as the out-and-out leader. And then the next paragraph was, we bring Almeida and Ayuso as co-leaders.
Yeah, that's the funny part. It literally said, our leader is Almeida, and his co-leader is Ayuso. It's like hidden in the second paragraph.
It's like, I don't want to create fake drama out of nothing, but when they do it like that.
Now, if I have to be honest, we have to look at the history a little bit here, because Almeida and Ayuso have a history in this sport, as in they've been a part of this team together quite a few times, and I think this goes back to the Catalunya in maybe 2022. Is that correct?
The Luke Plapp TT suit, 20-minute pool, launch Carapaz, and get in the car stage.
Yes, exactly. There was this massive stage where there was a raid at the start of the stage where, like you said, Luke Plapp launched it and jumped into the car. In doing so, launching his teammate Richard Carapaz of Ineos together with Sergio Higuita. And behind we had, first of all, the team of UE not necessarily collaborating too much throughout the stage. So they did quite a bit of work, if I recall correctly. But towards the later phase of the stage, Ayuso attacked, if I recall, on the final climb or the final descent, instead of pacing for Almeida. Now, we continue onwards, and then I look at the Vuelta of 2023, where both of those riders are back in the same Grand Tour once again, and there, Ayuso is fighting for a podium position. He's not necessarily super close to it, but Almeida doesn't ride for him at all. On the Becke stage, I'm still confused what happened there when it comes to UAE, because Jonas Vingegaard attacks, the UAE team car says, how about, instead of chasing in the group behind, we attack behind Vingegaard, not with Ayuso, not with Almeida, but with Finn Fisher-Black instead. A rider that's not their GC rider? That made no sense. And then in the group behind, Almeida and Ayuso are just staring at each other while they're both getting frustrated that they're losing time. Almeida should be the one working for Ayuso in that situation. So we've had multiple moments where one doesn't work for the other in both directions. It's not just Ayuso, it's not just Almeida. So going into this next Vuelta, obviously we had the Galibier last year at the Tour de France, but I think that's slightly overblown. This Vuelta, they are both here, in my opinion, as co-leaders. They will enter the race, they will ride their own GC. Almeida might have more team support, while Ayuso might have to do more stuff alone, is what I expect.
But to beat Vingegaard, don't they need both of them?
They need to collaborate as both of them, which is a difference than having both of them. You can have two riders sitting in a group that are riding their own GC, or you can have two riders that roll attacks, knowing that their attack can help the other rider. And I'm not sure that secondary option is what we'll see. I feel like it might just be both of them riding for their own GC and hoping for the best possible fight for the race.
Yeah. But in theory, to beat Vingegaard, who's on paper the strongest climber in these steep finishes, they need to use these two guys and work together. The rest of the team, Marc Soler, home race, both Catalonian stages, and the Andorra finishes above his house. Mikkel Bjerg, also Andorran resident, and I would say quite motivated. Felix Großschartner, very reliable, good all-round climbing rouleur or climber. Ivo Oliveira and Jay Vine. Jay Vine also will be, I think he attacked on the last Andorran stage. He always seems to go best in the Vuelta. Oliveira is their versatile rouleur, as well as Novak, of course, to pull. I must say, Benji, it's not like their best team. And it's a good team, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't have a Narvaez, a McNulty, a Micah, a Del Toro, a Jan Christen even. It's
especially a McNulty who wasn't at the Tour de France, but then again, he'd probably be riding for a top 10 in GC, so maybe that's the reason he's not here.
Could be, although there's a team time trial, so it's obviously still a very good, well-rounded team, and maybe they're going for, okay, it's better to have Ivo Oliveira, Novak, and Großschartner, three reliable guys who know their role and will do their role, than more guys who are, in theory, better riders who will have their own ambition.
I agree. Is it weird that I would have enjoyed seeing a Milano in this list, in this sprint field? It doesn't help their GC,
Did he do the Giro?
I don't remember. I genuinely can't tell you for the life of me. He did not. He rode Hungary, Slovenia, and so forth. So kind of he did the Rui Oliveira schedule.
I agree that Milano or Narvaez, to be honest. Narvaez would have been like nasty
Lethal,
on some of these
but
finishes, yeah.
Do I not? Are we underestimating that some riders might be leading up to a full-on Italian schedule instead?
Yeah, I think the reality is they want Narvaez in Quebec to launch Pogacar and Montreal. So most likely we can expect him there, and then probably in Emilia, etc., in the Italian races, and to launch Pogacar. So maybe that's the trade-off. And again, it's still a very, very strong team. But yeah, I also think Soler and Vange, and they will get their chances in the mountain breakaways. I think they should go for it. But moving over to the favourites team, Vingegaard comes with Sepp Kuss, Ben Tullet, Jorgensen, Van Baarle, Kelderman, Campenaerts, and Axel Zangle. So I would say this is a much more, it's a climbing heavy team in theory, and also Van Baarle and Campenaerts probably just this sole dedicated bodyguards to Vingegaard, and then you have a versatile sprint option who can maybe go for his own result here and there with Zangler. So slightly different to the Tour construction.
Well, I definitely enjoyed the inclusion of Axel Zangler. Like, I know I was yapping about Matthew Brennan as a potential rider as their sprinting option for the Vuelta, but Zangler is just as okay in the sprinting field. Brennan's a better sprinter than Zangler. Let's get that out of the way. Zangler has not been bad this year. He's been close on a couple occasions, so it wouldn't shock me that he exits this Vuelta with a stage victory somewhere. That is a realistic possibility in my opinion. And it's partially because we've gone over GC riders already, but if we look at the overall sprinting field, then Axel Zangler has to beat Mess Pedersen, which that will not be easy. But outside of him, then am I correct in saying that when I go through this list, then I go through every single printer that I see Ethan Vernon, I see Alois Aular, Elia Viviani, a Thibaut Gruel, who you're pretty hyped about. Guillermo Silva and Caja Rural is a bit more versatile than a sprinter, so I wouldn't necessarily classify him as a pure sprinter or stuff like that. But
Ghana,
if Ineos goes for sprints, then I think they should with Ghana, to be honest. His sprints.
Of course.
But I'm starting to run out of sprinters already.
I think Philipsen's going to do the Vuelta.
I would love that.
I think Philipsen might be there, but indeed, I think Zangler's biggest chance to beat Pedersen is actually the pure flat sprints. That's where he's beaten him multiple times this year. The uphill sprints or reduced sprints, Pedersen hasn't lost many of them the last 2 years. So we saw in Denmark, he can just keep sprinting until the line.
Do I feel like Astana is sending a pretty strong team? Sorry, I know I'm averting from the Visma-Leasebach discussion here, but I feel like Astana has a lot of tier 3 sprinters that could have top 5-day Vuelta sprint that are not coming to this Vuelta. Ballerini at the Tour de France can top 5 multiple Vuelta sprints.
Yeah, or a Gate.
Yeah.
Seriously, a Gate is he can top, or even Gazzoli. I don't know where he is. He was in Poland. No, he's in no shape. I would have said Simone Velasco, Benji, but he already did a shitload of races. But yeah,
Marijn van den Berg potentially after dipping out of the Tour de France was it a crash? I don't know what it was.
I mean, there's Ivan Garcia Cortina, but I actually think Movistar have one of the best leadouts. Seriously, Hessman, Garcia Cortina, Canal for Aular. It's not bad for a Vuelta. He will top 4 a few sprints. So, but it's a classic Vuelta sprint field. The fourth name we mentioned is Filippo Ganna, who's not a sprinter and doesn't like bunch sprints. So that's also, and I also think to go back to Visma, you have to have a fast rider in your team.
Yeah.
Even with a GC leader, you never know when you have to sprint for a bonus second. You never know when you have to sprint a gap to close a crosswind. You need to have some fast rider. That's also why Narvaez was in the UAE team in the Tour de France. You have to have a quick rider.
I think so as well. And I'm just putting this out there. I think Ethan Vernon might have his breakout Grand Tour at this Vuelta if Philipsen's not here.
Yeah,
because he's actually been solid this year.
Yeah, and probably the team will be all around him, but it depends. He really needs the flat sprint stages. But is this climbing support? Is this enough for Visma, Benji, for Vingegaard? I think so, assuming Koos is all right.
Yeah, this should be a good enough team. Like, I don't know what the shape of Jorgensen and Sepp Kuss is going to be when it comes to Visma Lease bike here, because they both rode the Tour de France. I don't know how their training after the Tour de France has been towards this Vuelta. I would expect them to be in good form. I would hope for Vingegaard that both Kuss and Jorgensen are in good form, because if they are, then they're going to be some of the best climbers in this race as well, next to Vingegaard. So, like, Kuss and Jorgensen in good form can easily top 10 this Tour de France, this Vuelta. That is my personal opinion. Ben Tullet, also relatively strong, but now, would Tullet have been happier if there were more climbs less than 15 minutes in this race? Perhaps. But he's not terrible at the longer ones either, I would say, especially when he doesn't need to be the last domestique for them either. Kelderman, I haven't seen him in a while. I feel like this year he hasn't been the shout-out domestique, etc. But
and he was right what? To be. At Tour de l'Ain, Kelderman was probably the second strongest climber in the race. And he still, I mean, credit to him, but yeah, he rode in fully in support for the young guys. But
fair.
But yeah, I think Kelderman will probably be the first climber. You got Koos for the longer ones, Jorgensen for the shallow ones, and then Tullet for the short launch ones.
What do you mean first climber? As in the last one left over, or the first one to start?
Yeah, like supporting? The first one after the rouleurs of Van Baarle and Campenaerts would probably be then Kelderman would start to do like a longer pull.
Yeah, okay. I see that as well. I see that. This is a strong team around Vingegaard. Vingegaard is the best rider GC-wise in the race on paper, so with this team, Jonas Vingegaard should be able to secure La Vuelta. It's as simple as that. There's not much more to it. But can we talk about their bikes?
Well, yeah, and to hear about the bike he's going to use a new arrow in his quiver, we'll bring back one of my Australian friends who you heard during the Tour de France, Scotty Roy, the engineering manager at Cervelo, to tell us about the new R5 that's going to be launched during La Vuelta. Why update a bike that was already, for the small people like me, pretty close to the UCI weight limit without too much hassle?
Just adds flexibility. Right? There's two parts to it. One, we want to try and ensure that all riders are well below, or below or well below the 6.8 kilos. So a good example now is Matteo is on a 58, and that bike easily gets under 6.8. So and the other benefit is that it allows flexibility in wheel choices for the team. So we can run deeper section wheels and faster wheels on a frame and still come within that 6.8. So it's all about kind of refining that frame and refining that platform into something that is allows options to be had.
And so that's what it still is at its core, a pure climbing bike for steep climbs.
Yeah, I think you saw it at the tour. It was ridden. Sepp was using it, and just recently, obviously, Pauline had won on it, so it kind of already makes my job a little bit redundant in giving you the hard sell because she already has. But it has its courses where you've got an incredibly steep, hard finish, where this bike will really shine.
You saw Pauline changing between it depending on what course there was. The punchy courses, she still used the S5, and then selected the new R5 for the actual race-winning moments on Madeleine and the Jouplan stage.
Exactly. I think one thing that we always as well forget with climbing bikes is it's all well and good to be light to have that responsive, zippy, snappy feel out of the pedals, but it also needs to descend really well. And I think the old bike, the one behind you, was amazing at that. It's not a little soft, but this new bike, it's unbelievable. It's like it's on rails. It's such a weapon coming down a mountain. And I think one part of that as well is how stable that front end is. So obviously, much like the S5 and the same story with the S5 with weight, the R5 gets its own unique cockpit. So it's a one-piece system. there's a brand new set of reserve wheels that go with it, 34, 37 SLs. So as a system, the wheels dropped about 100 grams between the front and rear. So this is the level of detail that this bike has gone through.
And so when's it available? I think there's a particular date that's been selected on purpose for the actual release of the bike sometime during the Vuelta.
Stay tuned for what happens on September 5th.
Well, everyone's a hardcore listener, so they know it's the Angleroo stage. So
exactly.
basically, Cervelo picked the steepest climb or finish on the calendar, and they're releasing the R5, which, to be honest, keep it simple. But thanks again for coming on, Scotty, and we'll see it in the Vuelta ASAP.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Let's go to now Richard Carapaz and his team. He's the best favorite, not on the two on Visma or UAE. He's 15-1 in the betting. We don't obviously have the EF team announced yet. He hasn't raced since the Giro, so to make proclamations about what we think his shape will be, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think Carapaz is going to be good. I think this long out, unless he's been really sick and he hasn't got over it, but because I kind of like that they changed it up. I don't think he's done a preparation like this before. Normally he would do Poland between the Giro and the Tour and the Vuelta, or Poland or Burgos, and he hasn't done that. They're trying something different. This is he can podium this race. I mean, it's steep, like for he's a light rider. He just needs one of the UAE guys to collapse.
I think so as well. And the likelihood of one of the two leaders of UAE having a problem somewhere, not necessarily being at the best possible level, having some tactical situation leading to a time loss, having an inconsistent week, stuff like that, it can happen. We've seen it with both Almeida and Ayuso in the past. And therefore, I think it's definitely not unrealistic for Carapaz to end up on the podium, especially after a really strong Giro. Like, he podiumed to Giro, and he was, in my opinion, until we started the Colle del Finestre, the strongest rider for the last week before that. Is that fair? In terms of climbing.
I get Benji some.
What just happened? Emergency.
Yeah, it's an emergency, Benji. Thank God. I checked Twitter. This is why I do have to scroll. Richard Carapaz will miss the Vuelta a España, but the season is far from over. We caught it just in time. They tweeted it.
How long ago did they tweet it?
15 minutes ago.
Nah, we should have noticed before we started talking about it, man. Come on. Luke, what are you doing?
How sick has he been?
Well, he's not going to podium the Vuelta. My guess is that he's not going to start this Vuelta. That's my prediction.
Carapaz?
Yes.
Well, they said he's not.
Well, my prediction's accurate then.
But for EF, maybe that's a good thing, because he was out of the Tour de France, and I think they had their most exciting Tour de France ever, personally. Like, it was an incredible Tour de France. I don't think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing, no, but, you know.
We went from podiuming to not having a GC rider, perhaps.
Look, on the bright side, I guess. I think they got to take, and they probably won't, but I think they should take Mattis Mikkels. He's fast. He could win a sprint. I would take Mikkels. Vandenberg didn't look good in Hamburg.
He's at Renewy, Vandenberg, apparently.
Fuck, man, how are you going to beat Merlier and Renewy? How? That's the thing, is, like, also, a Vuelta stage is bigger than the Bingo Bongo stages. I'd expect Steinhauser should be here for the mountain breakaways. But yeah, Chavez, I guess, will be here. Baudin, maybe. Carthy. Albanese could be a good fit, but he did the Tour de France.
I forgot Carthy existed. I won't lie. I thought he had retired already.
Valgren. All right, we wouldn't have really done this team if we didn't think Carapaz was side. I'm not going to continue anymore.
We give up.
But it is really a big drop-off, in no offense to the other GC leaders, but the depth of the GC field is shallow. And not just the names. The names is shallow, but also, like, Lander, who would be in the top 5, he's not in good shape. He's really downplaying expectations. He's coming in after his Giro, very bad injury. So it's not just the lack of names, it's also a lot of guys. I mean, Carapaz can't even start. A lot of guys not having an optimal preparation, or they've done the Tour de France like Felix Gall, or even they've done Burgos and they're not looking that good like Egan Bernal, and there's riders like Del Toro who have skipped it. I think one team we'll go to who does have a rider who in theory has had a long build up to this race, and he's competed in Burgos, was Jai Hindley. He's with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. They bring Giulio Pellizzari, Tim van Dijk, Giovanni Aliotti, Sobrero, Dens, Fisher Black, and Jonas Koch. Dens won a Giro stage. What do you make of their team?
Well, first of all, Hindley and Pellizzari, I expect both of those riders to go for a GC. That's how I perceive this. And obviously, Jai Hindley did not win Burgos, but he got Pellizzari did not win Burgos, but he got fourth there. When it comes to Hindley, let me open his page here for a second. Like, he was supportive in Burgos. I don't know. Like, Hindley has had moments this year where GC wise he has been good, top 5 at Tirreno, stuff like that. But it's been a while. So
I think it's a good route for Hindley.
GC rider. What? Sorry.
I think it's a good route for Hindley.
Yeah, but is the level there?
Who knows? I mean, who knows? I think in the press release they said they don't know. They're like, we're coming. I think Pachi Villa in the press release said we're coming for GC with Hindley, but actually we don't really know what to expect.
Not mentioning Pellizzari at all, or what?
I don't think he'll be on the steep finishes. I don't see it. Whereas you know what the most similar stage 20 in recent history is to Bola del Mundo, Benji?
Fedaya?
Fedaya. A steep as hell
happy I
wall
got that.
up to 2,000 meters on stage 20, where Jai Hindley went crazy. So maybe it'll be a good finish to the. I think Hindley could actually surprise.
I hope so.
For the race, I hope so.
But imagine a hypothetical scenario, Patrick, where Vingegaard has a weak Vuelta, UAE collapses, and Jai Hindley wins the Vuelta. What is the leadership situation at Bora next year?
Do they have to unfire all the people who prepared? They're like, actually, Jesus, you won another Grand Tour. You shouldn't have with Hindley. Maybe you're not so bad after all.
Imagine. Now, on a serious note, I do expect solid level from Pellizzari. I don't know what the level of Hindley will be. I agree that the parkour fits him, and I hope his level is good enough to be competitive for GC. So that combination I'm looking forward to. Outside of that, yeah, I'm sorry, but Nico Dens can win a stage. We've seen that before. Sobero's going to be solid in team support. Aliotti as well. Fisher Black could compete for the uphill drags that are maybe a bit too hard for the actual sprinters to survive.
I think it's good for Fisher Black.
Yeah.
Fisher Black's his problem is fatigue resistance. Like Fisher Black, he can, to quote an Americanism again, Fisher Black can jump out of the gym. Like a fresh test, like in Muscat Classic, on 5 minutes, unstoppable. Bejes, we joked about it already, Benji. He also did a really, really big performance on Bejes when he chased Vingegaard. And I think these soft stages with a 7%, 6% finish for Fisher Black he is good for them, also for the TTT. I just wanted to say, I think Bora team is not bad. Jonas Koch, probably could have found someone else, but like Van Poppel. I mean, couldn't Van Poppel win?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I guess he's got to lead people out.
He can do a bit of a jumpy Drucker.
Yeah. And just we'll whip through maybe some of the other teams a little bit faster.
Okay. I want to start with Soudal Quickstep and Mikel Landa, who says he's going for stage instead of GC, which good old Mikel Landa going for stages.
Everyone's
I like that, but in week one, I'm not sure he's going to lose time on purpose in the same way as Ciccone, so he might accidentally end up going for GC.
If you say, I want to go for stages and not GC, and on stage 1, you don't lose 15 minutes, then the press officer should have to, I don't know, enact some sort of corporal punishment upon you. But do it then. Lose 15 minutes on stage 1.
Stage 3 is my opinion. Stage 1, I'm okay with them staying in it.
Oh, to
Stage
take
3
red.
out. But then again, Landa's not going to take red on
Landa
stage
can't
2.
win the sprint uphill on stage 2. He can't.
Ciccone can.
Ciccone can. So, anyway, they also bring Valentin Paré-Pantra, Junior Lesueur, who just won Czech Tour. Very nice.
Provisional.
It's provisional, but they're basically bringing a bunch of climbers. No Manier, no Lamperti, no Merlier. So I don't think they have a quick boy. I think, like we say every year, if you've got a quick boy, it never hurts to send him to La Vuelta. Jayco have announced their team: Dunbar, O'Connor, Harper, Gamper, Bowman, Foldager, O'Brien, Yul Jensen. Again, they have Cohen Bowman. There are actually a few Bowman stages, but they're probably going to go for try and stay in GC. And then Dunbar, he won 2 stages last year. He's more than capable of winning stages. Here, Ineos not announced. Bernal, GC leader. Ghana for the TTT, and ITT is pretty flat, I think. He should be the heavy favorite for that. Next to Kung, poor old Kung.
Q36.5 with Tom Pidcock.
Oh, yeah.
Says he wants to go, or says he's aiming for a top 10 in GC. And Patrick, I'm going to go on a rant. I'm going to go on a very short rant. The rant is, if you are Tom Pidcock and you're a rider that has, on paper, punchy capabilities, on paper, the abilities of surviving medium mountains, then it is a parkour that fits Pidcock for GC, but you can go for top 10 without doing it anonymously. Not like the Giro. You can do it by literally going into breakaway. Nobody cares if Pidcock goes in the break.
No one does.
Nobody.
But also, just like, if he's on 4 minutes and goes in a break in week 1 on these soft uphill finishes, nobody cares. Ben O'Connor did it last year. He literally went into the red jersey by 6 minutes. I mean, Visma probably won't let that happen, but
let's hope so.
I'm expecting Q365 to take up control of the breakaway in week 1 to win from the peloton with Pidcock.
They did it at the Giro, so that was I still cannot believe they did that, but anyway, at the Vuelta, I hope they change their stance, and they just had a fantastic victory. I think their first World Tour win, maybe, by Rory Townsend. Amazing victory at the, I was going to call it Behemoth Cyclassics, the ADAC Cyclassics.
That is what it's called.
It's ADAC now, my friend.
It's the ADAC Behemoth Cyclassics Hamburg, Wasserberg.
Is it still Behemoth?
I don't know, man.
Okay, Wasserberg. The Wasserberg Classic.
Yeah. We also, Movistar Castrillo, the breakout star of last year, Aula, Canal, Cepeda, Arcas, Romo, Garcia Cortina, Hesman. Roma said, I don't want to go for GC, but their team is making me because Quintana and Mas are out, but I'm overtrained. Yeah, no Mas, no Quintana, so there's, even if Vingegaard wins, there's an asterisk on this Vuelta.
Yeah, but why would Movistar force Romo to go for GC?
Because you need a Spanish rider to go for GC in the Vuelta.
I'm getting a brain cloth just thinking about this.
I agree. Yeah, that's how it is. They don't have the small Cepeda either.
Decathlon. Provisional. Felix Gall, who's top 5 the Tour de France. Leo Biziot, sorry, who was third at Vuelta Burgos, and he's also one of those interesting candidates because, he's literally 20. If he goes to this Vuelta as a 20-year-old, then on paper you'd say he's not going for GC. He was climbing really well at Burgos, though. This guy can definitely win a Vuelta stage.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, his level on that Burgos stage was excellent to beat Del Toro and co. They bring, some Stanemit, De Pestel, Peters. Bahrain all around Tiberi GC, so there'll be Pascal and Caruso, who also won in Burgos Thrine. They'll all be around him. Maybe they'll go on the break with Torsten Thrine, who was okay in the last stage of Burgos too. So I think the Bahrain team is looking quite good. Max Poole leading Picnic. We don't have any provisional names there, but Bjorn Kjort also there, who's in very, very good shape. The young British rider on Picnic. He's really come into his own the last couple of months. Arjen Levains and Eduardo Sepulveda for Lotto. No Van Eetveld, he's injured from the Vuelta. Israel Premier Tech bring Frigo for breakaways. I think he might be successful. Derek G for GC with Richard Tello, probably also shadow leader. Vernon, as Benji said, for the sprints. Intermarché, Hubbard for breakaways, like on the rolling days, Louis Manges for a top 10 GC, Dion Smith for versatile sprints. Oh, I'm actually leading out Arna Marit. Arna Marit, I think he'll never as good a chance as now. Groupama FDJ, Guillaume Martin for a top 10 GC, Stefan Kung for the TT and the both of them. Rudy Mollard, punchy finisher. Clement Braz-Afonso as my representative. Remy Cavagna, Broe Roland, David Godou, shape looked not good in Tour de l'Ain, and Thibaut Groul as their versatile sprinter. I think that's it, except for Burgos and Caja, Benji.
Yes, that is correct. And we could go over those teams, and I think we probably should in some way. Guillermo Silva at Caja Rural is a rider that has been very good in the last couple of weeks. He actually got a top 10 at Brabant Sapel, which you don't necessarily see that often. Caja Rural rider top 10ing a Belgian one-day race, so that's promising. He also got top 15 at Preo Villafranca, which is one of those like the Spanish races that we've seen recently. So all those things combined, top 5 at Miguel Indurain and stuff like that. This guy can compete for a stage victory from the breakaway, is my opinion. Outside of that, we've got Barcello, versatile sprinter. I'm not necessarily feeling it too much for a potential stage win there, but I think that's most of what I want to talk about when it comes to Caja, to be honest. But Burgos, Burpelet, Beache, Fagundes, we've seen that guy be pretty good when it comes to UCI points this year. I think he topped in a stage race earlier this year. It was Gran Camino, got a top 10 in Jaén as well. His form in the latter part of the season has not been that crazy, though. So that's something I do want to mention. Aparicio and Chumil. Chumil, you might remember, he was the guy that won that mountain stage in Gran Camino, but then in the second half of the season, he was okay on some mountaintop finishes, but never really followed that up with any crazy performances. And Mario Aparicio is top 15 at Burgos, stuff like that.
He'll go on the break for the really, really steep uphill finishes. He's a slender man, and he's a pure climber, so he'll try and get a result from the break.
Did you ever play that?
No, I never played it. One man I want to point out is Hugo of the Street on Burgos Piace. He's actually a very good rider, 21-year-old, and I'm keen to see how he goes in this Vuelta as just an overall break rider. They'll be in the breaks. They'll hope to get lucky, and they won with Pelo Sanchez, did they?
No,
he didn't. No,
he was the rider that was really strong ahead of and passed Remco Evenepoel on the road 2 years ago during the Vuelta, and everybody started shouting, Pelo Sanchez,
Yeah, and then he's on Movistar. He's gone.
But now, before we continue, we should hop into the stages pretty soon, right?
We should do the stages. They're all the teams. Arkea don't have any teams announced or any provisional riders. Same with we don't know if Philipsen's doing it. So I'm going to... for the purpose of these stages, I'm going to assume that Philipsen is going to do the Vuelta. He's on 34 race days. He was third in the sprint in Bemesa Classics. I'm going to assume Philipsen is doing it. But before we get to the stage-by-stage previews, a word on our partner, Morton, who we've spoken a lot about their hydrogel technology. I've been destroying the cocoa bars. I felt bad because I emailed Robbie and Morton. I was like, can I have more of the bars? Like, you got through them quickly, and then it turned up like the commercial quantity, a box like a commercial wholesale quantity of those bars. I was like, that'll get me through. So they just arrived, which I'm very, very happy about.
Patrick, channel your inner Tim Merlier, and in the imitation of Merlier, tell us how good the cocoa bars are.
It's a rice bar, and it tastes really good, and it gave me the energy, and I won the sprint today, and with the bonus from the sprint, I will buy a new apartment on the beach in Coxeter.
To store the cocoa bars?
Yeah, I will have a whole house in Coxeter to store the cocoa bars from Morton. But anyway, we've spoken about the hydrogel technology for a long time, but the solid bars from Morton are oat and rice based. They deliver 40 grams of carbs in a chewable, tasty format that gives you a texture reset from all the liquids and gels. And I like the solid C160 because it adds a hint of cocoa. And they're part of Morton's modular fueling system, so they match the gels and drinks. So they're pre-cut in two halves. You can take 20 grams at a time from the bars, And I like to mix it up if you want to have a gel and then alternate with a solid bar as well. So you're giving some variety to your palate and to your stomach. And now you can get your first order with 20% off gels and bars with the code in the show notes. That's 20% off using code LR Morton 2025. That's a huge discount. And yeah, why not try it out? If you like the gels, maybe try out the solid 160s as well. It's a crazy amount of carbs in what is a very natural and tasty chewable bar when you're in the mountains. All right, let's go, Benji, before into the stages and go through with stage 1. You can take us away.
Okay, stage 1 starts in Turin, and it's a 183-kilometer stage to Regia de Vinaria. It's we've already mentioned it earlier, to be honest. It's basically a flat stage. There's a climb in it in the first half, but in the first half, having a climb there, it's a pretty hard climb, but it won't influence the race too much. So I expect a flat sprint at the end of this. The finish is seemingly straight. There's a bit of a slight bend, but I would say that it's probably going to be a straight up sprint at the finish line. And like you said, I just looked it up, and Philipsen is indeed eyeing a start at La Vuelta. So my assumption then is that they'll have a lead out around him. They'll probably have the best lead out in the race. So I expect Philipsen to win here.
I think if Philipsen's here, I expect him to win. If not, this can be a very, very strange winner. Yeah, this can be just because it's the first sprint. I'm going to go with Luis Aular.
Ooh. Okay.
No, can I change? Can I change? I'll go Ethan Vernon.
Okay, Ethan Vernon.
I don't actually think Aular's fast.
I think Vernon's a better option for a stage like this, so I get you there. Your turn. You're doing evens today.
Oh yeah, evens. Sorry. Stage 2 is a strange old stage. It's a typical Tirreno Adriatico finish, actually. 160 Ks, where it's like, yeah, it's a Unipuerto, but it's a climb that gradually gets more difficult. It's 7.5 Ks, 5.5%. The last 2 Ks are 7%. It was, Benji has in the notes, this was won by Garzelli in 2002 Giro d'Italia, stage 5.
My notes are on point today.
And it also says, but he was doping, so Santiago Perez received the win. But let's be honest, and I won't say the rest of it.
I'll say it. I'll say it. But let's be honest, it's 2002, so there's a realistic chance that he may or may not have been clean.
So yeah, it was in that year. Let me see. And there was actually gaps. There was quite some gaps. 7 seconds to 5th. 9 seconds to 7th, 14 seconds to Scarponi in 10th. And yeah, so we might see GC gaps here. I think this is a battle between Ciccone, Pidcock, and Vingegaard. Ayuso also very fast on these sort of finishes. I'm going to take a first win for Jonas Vingegaard.
Okay. I see that as a possibility, but Patricio, I'm going to go for Giulio Ciccone, the man in form. I think he's going to do it from the peloton.
I think it will be from the peloton because the red jersey's on offer.
But then again, if you have to select one stage where Pidcock might be able to do it from the peloton, is this not the one? Or should we just not mention him because we're always overrating him?
I needed him to drop Corbin Strong, I'm afraid, to beat Ciccone and Vingegaard.
Nuclear watts though, but very fresh as a daisy at the bottom.
I mean, this is fresh.
Yeah, true.
They walk up to it. So maybe surprises. I think Q365 will control this stage if Trek don't, and I think both of them will.
Okay, fair. Stage 3 is 139 kilometers. It's not a pure flat sprint. It's a finish from the Women's Giro d'Italia in 2023, stage 5 from that race. But that was necessarily a mountain stage. This one is more of a versatile uphill sprint, if I look closely at the parcours. But if I then go even more in depth and I look at the actual final uphill, then it basically goes uphill for the last, I would say, 10, 15 kilometers. But it starts with more of a false flat. And then towards the end, it has a 2.2 kilometers, 4.2% segment And with about 2 kilometers to go is how I'd classify it. And the last bit to the finish is also quite steep. So this is a versatile sprint, and it shouts Mess Pedersen for me.
Yeah, Mads Pedersen, hard to go past him. He'll be the heavy favourite. Track will control. The break has no chance. And Pedersen should win, frankly. Stage 4 is a harder stage, but still a somewhat versatile sprint stage. 192 kilometers. We crossed the Italian to French border, beginning in Susa, finishing in Voiron. The first third of the stage it's quite hard, but with shallow, high altitude climbs. We'd go over the Puerto Exiles, the Exile border, 6K, 6% where the break might form. And this is why Trek brought such a strong team, I think. They then have 9Ks, 5.5%, up to 1,900 meters, the Col de Montgenèvre. Then they do the Col de Lotera, 9Ks, 5%. Okay, it doesn't sound that hard, but it's to 2,050 meters. Long descent, 30K descent, and it's still sort of gradual downhill. There's a short kicker, 1.7K, 8.5%, and then with about 30Ks to go, and then it's a little bit uphill, and then a flat sprint in Voiron.
Is the fact that the Montgenèvre and the Lothair are in the first half of this stage a counterpoint to... When I look at the stage, I see an option for Little Trek to go hard on those climbs, to maybe drop a pure sprinter in Philipsen to make the sprint harder, easier for Pedersen to win. But is it too early in the stage for that to be working out?
I don't think... I mean... If you go hard on that first climb, right, stop the break forming, and then the break continues to form on the subsequent climbs,
yeah,
Vernon won't come back so easily.
Yeah.
So I think they have to go hard there. I think it's going to be...
That's why they have the team, eh?
This is why they got a mega strong team for this. I don't see Trek going in the break. I think they just control it for Pedersen. And I think they're going to be able to do that. I think it's going to be very hard, and it's going to be a tough day for the sprinters. I mean, even if they don't do that, Benji, you make it hard, and then that climb at 30Ks to go, you put the hammer down, and you try and drop Philipsen or hurt him again, or Vernon. So
it's hard enough.
It's hard, yeah. 1,700 meters, 8.5%. It's hard enough. I'm going to go with Axel Zangler to win this.
Okay. I'm going to go for Mess Pedersen to win that. So I'm doubling up on Pedersen. Stage 5 begins in Figueres, finishes in Figueres at a 20-kilometer team time trial. Ooh. And slightly uphill in the last, I would say, 1 kilometer, 800 meters maybe. So mostly flat for the first 20 kilometers. But when you think of team time trials in 2025, we haven't necessarily seen too many of those. This is one where we take on the traditional method of team time trials, right? We don't have the Paris style where you can just finish with the GC rider, and that's the time that counts. Here you have to finish with, is it 4 or 5 riders? I always forget. It's 5 riders, right?
It's 4 riders. The 4th rider sets the time, so none of the woke nonsense from the Paris TT.
Nonsense.
Yeah, where the first rider sets the climb. This is traditional TTT rules. I'm going to go with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe to win this stage. I think they surprised me in the Paris TTT. I think their team is actually pretty good here for the TTT. I would have liked maybe, that's also why I would have liked Van Poppel instead of Jonas Koch. I think it would have increased the chance to win this, but I think they could win.
I am going with Ismail Sabike to win this team time trial.
Okay. Stage 6 from
Ooh. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
The profile is correct. The profile is correct. Yeah, I thought so. It's from Olot.
It's from Olot, so near Girona, to Andorra la Vella, to Pau. So they start, and this is all shallow climbs, 170 Ks, big valley, big roads. They're on the highway basically to Andorra. Apart from the first 2 climbs, they do the Collada de Toses after the Collada de Sentigosa. They're both 11Ks 4% and 25Ks 3.5%. That the Toses climb just is forever. This is also why you have, if you're going for Giulio Ciccone, why you have a Carlos Verona, a 70-kilo climbing rouleur to set a pace here. Long valley, downhill from Stradania to Liceo d'Urgell, and then you go up the valley road into cross the Andorran border. They do Alto de la Comella, which is 4K, 7.4%. It's actually steeper in parts. That's actually almost the hardest climbing section of the race. Short descent into town, then through La Massana village, and they begin the climb of Tupal, which is 10K, 6.5%. It's really like big ring climbing until they turn left at Erz.
Yeah.
There's not that hard the first K. The steep K is after the village of Pal. It's a little bit difficult, like 1,500 meters at 9%. But then they go up to the roundabout, turn left to the ski station, and it's really not hard. The last K or so, it's really not difficult.
So if you want to make a move, it has to be in that very steep segment of the climb. So in the middle of the climb, basically, with 5.
If you want to gap people, yeah.
But we're also early in a Grand Tour, so people might not necessarily be willing to go all out to gap people at this point in the race when there's options to do that in future mountain stages as well. So I low-key feel like this could be a smaller group sprint of GC riders. Don't you feel that?
I feel breakaway or a counter-attacker from a non-GC rider. The last Andorran stage, that did happen. I think Roman Bardet attacked. Jay Vine followed over here on Ordino before they finished on Arinsal, where Remco won the sprint in Arinsal, and that was a harder climb than this. I'm going Jay Vine to win. I don't know whether it's from the early break. They do start uphill. If you're Trek, you're going to control for Ciccone on this to beat Vingegaard or Ayuso?
Nah. Unless he's in the lead in GC, of course.
Yeah, sure. But then you maybe... I see a lack of control here. I think even Q365, there's no way they can think Pidcock will win this.
Yeah, but which riders will have lost time in GC to go in the breakaway by this point?
I think Vine gets a golden ticket even if he's on... I think Vine will lose time. I think on that Pedersen first stage 3 sprint, he will just park it in the last 4Ks and lose time.
Will he get the freedom, though?
Yes.
Okay. Because Vine is definitely the rider that would definitely try to win here if he has the freedom.
And a lot of riders will try to win here. Soler will try too.
Yeah. Ooh. Do we see anyone at Visma getting freedom? I'm not so sure about that. Trying to look at the list here. Fisher Black from the breakaway?
I don't even think from the breakaway. I think Vine is going to jump on Comella.
Yeah.
And I'm making this up. I haven't spoken to him. I think he's going to jump on Comella when no one's controlling and like last time in Andorra, and then he'll just hold on to win.
I'm going for Leo Bizio from the breakaway.
Oh, no, yeah, not bad. He was good on the 7% climb in Burgos. Okay.
Stage 7.
Stage 7.
Andorra la Vella is a start. We've got the Port de... I cannot read that. I need to zoom in. I'm zooming in as we speak. We've got the Port de... I'm about to find out. The Port de... Holy... Port del Canto. Port del Canto. Yeah. 25 kilometers, 4%. That is... the gradient is kind of a fake news climb because there are steeper parts in there than 4%. The first 5.8 kilometers, 7.9%. So break formation will be hammering on that climb. But by the time we get to the top of that climb, I do expect to potentially see a breakaway formed because a 25 kilometer climb should be long enough to do that. But it will be chaos, so I like that. The second climb is in the middle of the stage. It's Puerto de la Croix de Perves. We've got 23 kilometers at 3.5%. First half, once again, fake news. First half is easy. Second half is steeper. And then in the last half of the race, the stage in total is 188 kilometers, by the way. But in the last 40 kilometers, there are 2 climbs. With about 40 kilometers, we have the top of the Col del Lespira, 5.9K at 6.5%. Warm-up climb, I would classify it. And the final climb is the big one, of course. But it's a step climb. It's a bit of a fake news climb because it says 12 kilometers at 5.9%, Patrick. But that's a lie. That's a lie because the first step is 3.9 kilometers at 9.2%, then a small downhill, then 2.7 kilometers at 9.8%, then a small downhill, and then we've got a slightly easier one towards the finish. I would estimate at about 7% roughly for 2-ish kilometers before we get to the finish. So those first 2 steps of that climb, that is really steep and really hard. So for me, the winner of the stage is Jonas Vingegaard. or
I think
Breakaway.
I think Breakaway is going to win this stage again.
But in the peloton, I think Vingegaard can make the difference here.
Especially as it's like, this is not a good Almeida climb.
No.
The average gradient is good, but this is the classic Almeida climb where like he gets put on a gap on the steep 2K 9%. He's like, I'll claw it back. Oh shit, there's a descent. I have to spend way more energy now to come back, and it reminds you of the Koi Giro stage a little bit. So,
but he's changed a little bit as the rider.
I don't think so.
I feel like he doesn't do that
In Swiss,
necessarily
he did that.
dropping off the back anymore.
In Swiss, he did that on the steep climbs.
Yeah,
and he
I
was
don't
still
know.
good, but
I think he's just gotten better, and as a consequence, he doesn't need to do that every single time anymore.
maybe. I like the Breakaway once again, and I will go again with Mr. J Vine. Although no. Ben O'Connor
Ooh,
or Eddie Dunbar.
I like the idea
one
of
of
that.
those two.
I'm struggling, to be honest, with deciding which riders will be going for stages in week one. Because, like, David Gaudu at the Vuelta last year was super good. But he's been shit for most of this year, you know? So I'd be shouting at David Gaudu if he was in form, but I don't see that right now. So I'm going to put my hand in the fire, and I'm going to say Tom Pidcock from the Breakaway.
These are the stages. If you're Ciccone, Landa, Pidcock, you need to be on a time gap so you can go. It's an uphill. It's a 25k climb to start. If you're Landa, this is your best chance to win a Grand Tour stage in a long time. Like
It's Pidcock or Urco Berardi.
If you're on one, well, Equipo Confirmer not here.
Right, fair.
If you're on 1 minute, I'll be so. It will happen. So I think Dunbar or O'Connor. Stage
Dunbar
8.
is a good call.
From Monzon Templario to Zaragoza, 160 Ks. No categorized climbs pretty much. It's a pancake flat sprint stage. We do have some open areas, so depending on the wind direction, you can have. There's always in week one, every Vuelta, because there's no TV footage of the starts of these stages. You open PCS live stats and you see, holy fuck, what's going on here? In a random ass stage where you thought you'd have a siesta in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And this could be one of them. But yeah, I think it'll be a sprint. I'll go with this one. I'll go with Philipsen.
I'm going for Philipsen as well on this one. So stage 9 starts in Alfaro and finishes on Estación de Esquí de Val d'Escaray. We've got a stage that I also think that the first 70% of this stage has hidden altitude meters up and down and up and down and up and down. No proper classified climb before the last one. And the last climb is 13.5 kilometers, 5%. But the first 9-ish kilometers, 9.6-ish kilometers is the opposite of an exponential climb. Every now and then in the Vuelta, we've got a climb that starts as a shallow climb and goes harder and harder and steeper and steeper. This is the opposite. It starts at the steepest and becomes more shallow towards the top as we speak. And at the end of the day, I am looking at the gradients here, and I see the first 2 kilometers being 8 kilometers, being 8%. But after that, it gets easier and easier. So I feel like this might be Breakaway.
I think this is Breakaway again. And I'm going to go with Marco Frigo.
Ooh. Okay. I think that's a fair call. I'm going for Dunbar on this one.
Yeah,
he's sometimes sneaky fast, so I feel like he's a solid pick for this finish. Anyway, on to you,
Primoz? Primoz Roglic. It's the first Vuelta he's not done since 2019 or 18.
Every stage is for him.
They made a Vuelta stage for Roglic.
Well, I would say that, but then again, this year he has not gone for a single stage like this.
Well, the Catalunya stage where he dusted off Ayuso in the Montserrat sprint? In a Grand Tour, yeah. Stage 10, 170 Ks from Parque de la Naturaleza Senderia to El Faral Lara Belagua. So it's the same as stage 9. It's literally the same stage. and everything applies. So I'm going to go for. It's a bit steeper at the bottom. I'm going to go with Jay Vine from the break.
Okay, I think that's a good call. I'm going for someone at Groupama has to do something on these kind of finishes, but winning. How do you feel about the Clement Brazafonso form going into this Vuelta? Because I feel like he just not finished the race at some point. To the land. Wasn't that great for him, you know? Ay.
You know who's sneaky good for these finishes too? Especially stage 9, Rudy Mollard.
For me, the climb is slightly too long for that.
Yeah, probably. This is a Jesus Herrada, Rigoberto Urán from a couple of years ago type finish.
Yeah, but we don't have the Cofidis team yet, so we don't know which Spanish riders are going to show up for Cofidis.
Aaron Broe.
Yeah, but not for this finish. Astana, I see loads of riders that could go for stage victories, but I also don't necessarily see the form on most of them, so I'm not sure they'll be able to do it either.
But you need Spring. Spring Scaroni would have won all of these.
Yeah, or a good form Wout Poels can win the stage easily, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thought process
sprint.
here. I'm going for... Bro, it's hard to do this when half the start lists are not complete, I'll be honest.
It's the same as yesterday.
And the thing with Max Poole is that he's probably going to go for top 10 in GC for UCI points over stage wins. So I'm not necessarily feeling it all out there either. I'm going for Chris Harper.
Okay.
Not the ideal climb for him, though, but I'll go for it anyway. Actually, no. Valentin Paris-Pantre. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he'll be here for this. Or Le Cerf. Le Cerf was just good on these climbs in Czech Tour.
Yeah.
It's the same as the Czech Tour climbs. So
true.
They'll be in the break quick step. Bring us to finally a different stage, Benji.
Exactly. Bilbao to Bilbao, stage 11. And to be honest, when I look at this parcours, I think of all these Spanish one-day races combined into one. Because there's so many climbs in one parcours, 168 kilometers in total with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categorized climbs. And the first one is the Alto de Lauquis, 4.7k, 4.5%. Then the Puerto de San Pelayo. Sanchez will love that. 3.6k at 7.6%. Then the Balcón de Vizcaya, roughly in the middle of the stage, with 4.5k at 5.4%. Then the Alto de Morga at 3.9 kilometers, 4.7%. Then the Alto del Vivero with about 50 kilometers to go. This is the climb that we know from the... Is this the one from Circuito de Getxo? No, that's Côte de Piquet. We know this one from the Tour de France stage, that's for sure. 4.3 kilometers at 8.1%. So that one's really hard. And we do that one twice in a row. Not sure it's the same side though. We do the last Vivero with about 24 kilometers to go at tops. Once again, 4.3 kilometers, 8%. And then we go to the final climb, which is the Alto de Piquet, which is the Côte de Piquet from that Tour de France stage, or the climb that is present in the Circuito de Getxo race. So that's with about 7 kilometers to go at that one tops, and that's 2.1 kilometers at 9.4%. The winner of the stage, you don't even need to say it, Patrick. We all know who it is. Alex Aramburu.
I'm not sure. Aramburu, oh yeah, if he goes the correct way, he did win a Basque Country stage, which he shouldn't have because he cheated.
That's not true.
He cheated.
The organizers bottled it. The road book was not correct. No, the road signature was not correct according to the road. He learned the road book and he applied it.
So if I see a deviation on the road and a marshal signaling, I should ride into a lady with a pram on the other side of the barrier because the road book said I should go through it?
Correct.
And then at the finish, I should tap my head to say I'm so smart because I did the right way.
Yes. I'm so smart, poor old lady.
I'm going Vingegaard to win this.
Oh, really? I like the idea of it. You're going pure GC on this. I like that. I hope we see some
3,000 meters
action
climbing.
Here. It is, but who will control it?
And that's a good question. Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be controlled, whereas there's no Pogacar to control it. UAE to control it. There is a bonus gate on top of as well. So they're trying to get the GC riders moving here because they've put a bonus gate on top of Piquet, I think.
On top of the last climb.
Yeah.
I would have preferred it on the top of the second last climb, actually. Giving like a Paul Arin vibe. But I would say that if you look at UAE and Visma, I know what I said at the start of this podcast when I spoke about UAE. I see two co-leaders. I don't expect them to necessarily work together in a coherent 2-leader strategy. But if they did, this would be a stage where you could do so. Because you've got Vivero to launch early with one of them, put pressure on Visma. But at the end of the day, the Visma team should also be strong enough to control one of those 2 leaders attacking early before Piquet as well.
I just can't see. I see Ayuso doing it. I can't see Almeida risking it.
Definitely not. It had to be Ayuso if you look at the parkour here.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go
I don't see it
Vingegaard
happening.
there. Stage 12 from Laredo to Los Corrales de Buelna. It has the Collada de Brenes climb in it. It's a rolling stage, a category 2, 8K 6%, then a valleys, then 3K 7%, and then the Brenes 6.6K 8.3%. That crests 22K from the finish. It's a descent flat finish. And 143K stage. I was going to pick Carapaz for this. I'd picked him months ago. I thought this was where he was going to attack because, descent finish, Visma and UAE are going to care about it. I am going to go for Mads Pedersen.
Really? 6.6 kilometers, 8.3%? That's really hard. I think breakaway. This reminds me of, was it Patrick Conrad versus David Gaudu? I'm not sure it was I'm saying the correct French rider here. I'm not sure it was Gaudu or Mollard or whatever French rider it was. That's the vibe I get from this. Those type of breakaway action, breakaway forming, getting away and potentially winning. I'm going to the start list here on the right side of on my right screen. That's why I'm looking to the right here. But do I have a rider that I'm looking at on a stage like this where I'm like, okay, this is the man for this? Like maybe 4 years ago, I would have said 4 years ago I would have said Nels Peteres for a stage like this. But that man has disappeared off planet Earth when it comes to potential form. So I'm not necessarily seeing that anymore. I'm going for Javier Romo from the breakaway.
Yeah, you need a strong 65 to 70 kilo climber who can keep the gap, who's a daredevil descender. Actually, yeah, Romo is that. So I think Romo is a very good pick, and yeah, Soler's descending might be a little bit of a problem. Can I change my pick? I'm going with Ben O'Connor from the break. He's fallen out of GC by this point, and then he also is a quick descender, strong climber, so I'll go with O'Connor.
Good call. And he's also got... Well, Tudor's not at this race, right?
Fuck, Stora would have won 20 stages.
20 stages? You know who would have won the stage?
Matthew Brennan.
Anyway, on to stage 13.
I actually don't think that's not true. That's
not true.
Not true.
Well, to be fair, I think you've said it about like Morvan too at some point during the tour. So
could have.
Stage 13 from Cabezon de la Salle to L'Angliru. This is the first brutal finish, and that is the Angliru. We know that climb for a while now. Contador in 2017, Hugh Carthy in 2020. When I think Vlasov might have podiumed as well. Obviously in 2023, the Roglic, Vingegaard backstabbing Kuss drama after that stage, that was ongoing as well. I think Roglic ended up winning that stage with Vingegaard in the wheel. Basically, the stage is flat for the first 140 kilometers. Then there's 60 kilometers left in which we have the Alto de Mosqueta. That is 6.6 kilometers at 8.1%. Actually quite hard. Then the Alto del Cordal, 5.6 kilometers at 8.8%. Also harder than I remember. Like, I always remember Cordal being an easy attrition climb before Angliru. That's not the case here. If I look at this parkour, these first two climbs in the last 60 kilometers are actually hard enough to already do something on. But the fear of what comes after is reality in this stage. 12.3 kilometers at 10.1%, the Alto L'Angliru, and the first 4 kilometers are relatively easy between 5 and 8.5%. After that, every single kilometer except the last is above 10%, and the third last kilometer is 17.2% average. A ridiculous climb, the Alto de L'Angliru. So, despite the first two climbs being hard, I expect everything to happen on the final climb, and the stage is won by Jonas Vingegaard.
They've made it a longer stage than normal. Normally, the Angler is a 130k special. They ride for an extra almost 2 hours. They still do the hard entry of the Mosqueta and Corral, like Benji said, where I think Soler tried to anticipate before. It's a long-ass stage. Pierre de Latour.
You did that on the second last climb, right? Last time?
I think so. I think he was worried about the descent of the because it's literally descent straight into Angleroo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to go past Vingegaard. If it's a bit open GC, then maybe a break has a chance, and they got a long valley for that. But with Van Baarle and Kampenaerts, it's not looking good for the break. So I know Vingegaard.
Okay. Your turn then, stage 14.
Stage 14 from Aviles to Farapona. This is 140 Ks, more or less. It's rolling hills beforehand. They do the some like 10K, 9% climb. Fuck, that's pretty hard. 10K,
yes,
9%.
It is.
And then it's ascent straight into the like valley of 8K, 5% before Farapona. Then it's 7Ks, 8.5%. It gradually gets more difficult up to 1,700 meters.
I know who I pick.
It's too short for the break. I see.
Yeah.
It's tricky for the old break here, but I think. But then who's going to like say Vingegaard's won a few stages, and he's comfy in GC at this point. Then UAE won't control. Who's going to control? And so I'm going Pellizzari out of the break. I'm going to Pellizzari or a Steinhauser.
Buddy, I think we've made a mistake in not mentioning Lorenzo Fortunato yet.
Have we, though?
Podiumed at Burgos. I think he's going to win a stage in this Vuelta. I'm not sure it's this one, though. I also agree that it's too short.
Angleroo break or Bola del Mondo break is Fortunato territory.
I expect an Egan Bernal raid on the Puerto de San Lorenzo with 35 kilometers to go. And
Covadonga 2.0.
Egan Bernal wins the stage. No, I actually don't see him winning, but I do think he will do it. I do expect him to raid on this second last climb. Okay. You can change your pick. I'll do it. I'll allow it.
Mikel Landa.
Yeah, very possible. At this point, he should be out of GC. If he's not, then he's going for GC. Yeah. I'm going for Giulio Ciccone.
Yeah, I think actually those guys, hopefully they're out of GC by then. All right, last stage before the second rest day.
Vega/Vegadeo. I have no clue why there's two names for the start of that stage. 2, Monforte de Lemos. And this is a very interesting stage, Patrick. So the first 17 kilometers or 5% uphill. What? Can we just talk about that? That's a massive start to the stage. After that, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, flat. Well, not really flat. The next valley plateau segment of 30 kilometers is up, down again. Then we go down again. Then we go up again, down again, up again, down again. And now it's 70 kilometers to go, Patrick. And we've had most of the climbing of the stage, but it's been so incredibly hard that we've had such break formation at the start. This is for me a battle. Actually, the battle might happen before the stage. I was first going to say a battle between Lil Trek and Miss Pedersen trying to control a breakaway, but what if they go into the breakaway?
That's what I was thinking. Like, usually by weeks 2 and 3, there's so many guys jumping, you just go in the break with 3 strong teammates.
Yeah.
That's also what I see with, Ivo Oliveira, Mikel Bjerg, Soler. You get 3 UAEs in. I even think Dylan Van Baarle and Kampenaerts. You just go in the breakaway and we end up with a very, very big break here, because if you're Trek and you're going to be the only team controlling first couple of stages, okay, you can do it. But I think it's going to be break, and I'm going to go with I like a rouleur here. I like a Sweeney type, but Sweeney's not here.
Dens,
if he it depends where the break forms, but it's only 4%, so Dens is a possibility. I'm going with Kel O'Brien.
I'm going with Filippo Ganna.
Yeah, I like the big, because in the end, to win this, in the end, you need a big engine. So I like a Kung, Ganna, big units. Thibaut Grul, I also would like him in the break here.
But about him, what are your expectations there? Because you were yapping about him for like half an hour before he started this podcast.
So yeah, Thibaut Gruel, let him cook porridge. Please can I have some more? So he's in his second year professional at Groupama FDJ. He's like a versatile classic sprinter. He's 21. He's like 70 kegs. Dunkirk, he was good on the Cassel and the final sprint stage. Positions well. Did well in the Basque Country first sprint. Doesn't climb that well, but on short hills, he's all right. Poland, competitive in stages 4 and 5. And particularly, I think, on technical circuits, he's good, which was stage 4 in Poland. So, yeah, I just think Thibaut Gruel might snag a top 3 here and there in this Vuelta.
I think that's very possible. Okay.
That's the second rest day. Stage 16, this is the famous, the infamous Fue un placer, señores. Estamos aquí, queda aquí. Miguel Angel Lopez got in the car on this stage in 2021 when Clément Champoussin won 172 Ks long, when Marc Perun was a satellite rider and ruined the hopes and dreams of Movistar's double podium. And it's a hard stage again. I think it might not be as long as that day or as hard, but we have really irregular... It's just fake news climbs everywhere. It's just medium mountain, fake news climbs everywhere. And the real final starts at the Alto de Prado. It says it's 5.6 Ks at 6.2%. There's literally a 1K... There's a 1K 12% wall in that. Disgraceful stuff. Also, KOM is important here. Like, we got a Cat 3, a Cat 1, a Cat 2, and a Cat 2. I mean, Ciccone, if you want the KOM jersey, you have to be in the break here. Staggered descent with some punctuated by hills, and then the irregular Castro de Urville finish where Adam Yates didn't know the time gap to Jack Haig and didn't go for the... He went for the stage, not for third on GC. Haig took third on GC, and Roglic didn't let Gibbons win the stage and let Champoussin win instead. And... yeah, this has to be... I think this is break. This is where UAE's got to play the two guys, Benji, if they're still close. The problem is, if you got killed on Angleroo, you might be on fucking 3 minutes.
Yeah, but also, the two guys. Isn't it just one guy on a stage like this? Because Almeida's not going to attack early on a medium mountain stage with steep segments like this. That is not Almeida, you know? So, it feels like you automatically know that all the attacks will come from one of the two, which is Ayuso. So I just don't see that co-leader strategy working out the way that it in an ideal world would be working out. So I don't necessarily see that working. I also agree on breakaway stage. But who is going to win from the breakaway? That's the big question here.
They haven't brought Champoussin, which I think is frankly disgraceful. To
How does he
defend his
scream
title.
Is that not the same as the Quokka?
That's the Quokka score. I do like the Astana boys here. I'm going to go with... It has to be Astana winning this. It has to be. They have the perfect team for it. I'm going to go with Wout Poels, who I believe...
Good call.
I believe was pulling for Gino Maeda and Haig on that very stage when he was on Bahrain.
That is true. That is actually very true.
He's the one that launched the raid. Nah, it's Ineos. I think I'm making that up. I swear Pools do the big pool, though. I'll go Pools.
I'm going... The thing with UAE is that on a stage like this, you'd expect them to stay around their leaders.
No.
But it's also a stage where I'd expect Soler to go for the breakaway.
No, they're on the break.
Marc Soler for the stage. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Anyway, stage 17. It's a stage from Barco de Val de Horas. Finish in Alto de El Moradero, Ponferrada. That's a big climb. The first 80% of the stage are basically near flat. The final climb is 18.1 kilometers at 6.3%, but just like every single climb in this entire race, it's a fake news climb. First 3 kilometers of the climb are average 10%, I'd say, maybe 11 even. Then we've got 5 kilometers that are false flat uphill. Then we've got 4 kilometers steep again, 2 kilometers flat, 3 kilometers steep to the finish line. So we've once again got a staircase climb. This one is hard enough to go early on the climb, but the stage is only 137 kilometers. So I think Visma Leasebike controls, Jonas Vingegaard wins.
Yeah, this is another one that has the steep. Well, I think there's a 3K 12% section, and I don't believe they've driven a little Google Maps Mark Zuckerberg vehicle up this part of the climb before. So it's going to be a goat track. It's going to be steeper than it looks on the profile, and yeah, this should be a Vingegaard W.
Is this the kind of parkour where we'll see the actual like concrete blocks instead of actual road surface?
Yes, has to be.
Anyway, who's your winner here?
Vingegaard.
Okay. Stage 18, your turn, buddy.
From Valladolid to Valladolid, it's the 26K flat TT. If Pippo Ganna's still here, he will win. Poor old Stefan Kung will battle for second. There's a 700 meter 5% hill. That's it. It's flat. Ganna's the favorite. Ganna should win.
Luke's calling you out. Zuckerberg is Facebook, my friend, not Google.
It's all interconnected, Luke. It's all interconnected.
It's all part of the Illuminati is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay. Patrick is a deep state believer. 23.4 kilometers, like you said, is a time trial. Filippo Ganna is on the start list. You would argue that he should win this.
Yep.
Okay.
Stage 19.
Stage 19 from Rueda to Guijuelo. Sorry, I don't want to ruin the... I've already ruined too many Spanish names, so I don't think any Spaniards listening to this would be happy by this point, but it's 157 kilometers. It's not a completely flat stage, but it's going to be a versatile sprint, I'd say. Pedersen is here. He has the team. Is it hard enough for Philipsen to completely be in trouble, though? Considering he crashed out of the Tour, might not have optimal preparation for the Vuelta, I'd say Pedersen for this one.
Oh, I'm going to go with my Gruel. I'm going with Gruel.
Thibaut Gruel.
Pedersen should win. But or Phil. I don't think it's that hard, actually.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
It's Philipsen or Pedersen who'll be the favourites. But I'll just pick an underdog. I'll go with Gruel. Stage 20. Very, very hard stage. 161 Ks from Robledo de Chavela to Bola del Mundo. They do the Puerto de Navacerrada. At the beginning of Bola del Mundo, Benji has in the notes that Mosquera was beating Nibali in 2010, but Mosquera got caught. Then Denis Menchov won in 2012. It's there's some medium mountains at the beginning. It's uphill start. Then another category 2, 7K, 7%. Then a valley of about 40 kilometers. Then the Puerto de Navacerrada, 7K, 7.6%. They then go around, go back again, go up the Puerto de Navacerrada, and then, which is another 9Ks, 9K, 7%. And then they begin the Bola del Mundo, very hard. 3.2Ks, 12%. It begins at 1,900 meters. It goes to 2,250. Like I said, this reminds me of Fedaya. Yeah. It reminds me of Grenoble a little bit, actually. Although we do not, this whole Vuelta, we do not have a 30-minute climb in the middle of a stage before a proper mountaintop finish. It's not like the Tourmalet stage of 23. It really is, although there's still hard climbs before, of course, especially the Farapona
most of these
stage.
Stages or Uniperto stages or almost Uniperto stages.
Yeah.
This
one's
really
hard, though. This one's hard. Yeah, it's hard to go past Vingegaard, but then they have to control. So this is where I can see the Fortunatos of the world coming in. Good finish for him. Or if Jai Hindley's fallen out of GC, good option for him.
Patrick. You can try to seduce the Portuguese people every single day of the week with your Paul Seixas instead of Paul Seixas. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, when you see Bola del Mundo, you have to say one name only. João Almeida. It's happening.
Why?
It's one of those climbs where towards the end, he will rise up like a phoenix.
True.
I'm not sure that's logic, but
yeah, I'm also not sure that's logic. But if they take out Bola del Mundo, I think it's actually much more likely he wins the stage.
You're underrating my Portuguese.
I don't think I am. Yeah, So I'll
Vingegaard should win this if he arrives at the bottom of the climb feeling good. But Almeida will win this. That's the difference. Should and will.
That's the difference. Okay. That's the Bola del Mundo. Maybe the final climb, steep climb happens. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, then I think breakaway is much more likely. And then I like fucking pick. I'll pick Javon again. Okay. Final stage, Benji.
Final stage is Al Pardo to Madrid. 100 kilometers roughly is the Madrid circuit sprint. So I'm going for Jasper. Ethan Vernon.
Okay. Sometimes you can have. It was a good stage last in 23. Actually, it was like a break of Ganna and Groves. I will go with Pedersen. Chairman Mads, I think, will not give any gifts out. So I'm going with Chairman Mads here for that. For the points jersey, we'll start with that, Benji. Pedersen should win the points jersey. His team is stacked. Yeah. He's going to be more versatile than Philipsen, who looked okay in Hamburg, not spectacular. I think Pedersen, frankly, if Pedersen had been in Hamburg, he would have won Hamburg in a small group with Vacek. Yeah. So, I'm going with Pedersen points jersey. I can't go past him.
I fully agree. Pedersen points jersey, I can't go past him either. White jersey is a interesting one because Pellizzari, if he goes for GC, can win the white jersey here. Who else is available for the white jersey? Am I overseeing anyone? Because I feel like everybody's old. Bernal's not old, but old enough. O'Connor's too old. Landa is not going for GC on paper. Vingegaard is too old. Ayuso and Almeida. So Ayuso is still eligible. Almeida is not eligible anymore. So Ayuso should win the white jersey, but I feel like one of the UAE riders will drop out of GC. And I feel like it's more likely to be Ayuso than Almeida.
Is Felix Gall eligible? No. No, he's not.
No.
He's 27 years. I'm going to go with Richard. I'm going to go with Richardello for the white jersey.
Okay. I see the possibility. I'm going for Pellizzari.
Yep. See that too. And, okay, KOM.
Ciccone or Pellizzari?
You have to pick one. It's not how it works.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, well,
I know my answer.
Neither.
Pellizzari.
Pellizzari can't climb.
Fortunato, sorry. Pellizzari can't climb. Well, that doesn't even make sense either. Use that as an argument. It doesn't make sense either. I mean, Ciccone and Fortunato is an option, or, which something we've seen in these races, especially when it's Uniperto finishes all the time. There's so little climbs in the first half of these races that I think the GC winner is going to take KOM. So Jonas Vingegaard.
I don't know, because like on stage 14, for example, and I haven't done a spreadsheet on the KOM, I must admit, but like the climb in the first category 1, which the breakaway should take, is a category 1. Yeah. And on stage 17, the Morradero mountaintop finish is a category 1.
Yeah, how is that possible? Is HC?
Bola del Mundo's HC, but then if the protesters win, does it get downgraded to a Cat 1? Seriously, these are the things you have to think about in the Vuelta.
No, in the Giro you have to think about it.
Farapona's a Cat 1. Huesca is Cat 1.
Jonas Vingegaard.
Yeah, I think Vingegaard takes KOM. Because I don't believe Ciccone.
Down for the podium, Patrick. Starting with P3 all the way to P1. I'm still thinking about my P3, so you're going to have to...
had it, and then Carapaz is now sick.
I have a hard time for my P3, actually.
If Ciccone was going for GC, I would pick him for third.
Yes, me too!
I would have picked him for third. I mean, I also don't think Tiberi can't climb, so I don't know what he's going to do on Angleroo. I'm pretty sure in 23, did he pace on the Angleroo stage? Yeah, he paced on the Angleroo stage. Fuck, man.
Sometimes the simplest answer might be the best answer.
Yeah, I agree. Felix Gall third.
That's
Almeida,
not what I was going for.
Almeida second, and Vingegaard first.
Juan Ayuso third, Almeida second, Vingegaard first.
I don't think the finishes are good for Ayuso.
That's why he's third and not second.
But like, I think Koos can drop him on these.
I guess we'll find out. Especially because like the reason I'm also unsure about Ayuso is that his form in the last couple of weeks has not been too crazy. Like podium in Circuito de Getxo, I'm not necessarily feeling that as like, okay, that's not a sign of success.
Like,
but
how motivated will he
GC field
be?
is so light.
I know, but think about Ayuso, Benji. Like, there must be some problems, but it's not just smooth sailing behind the scenes. Like, he's not in the Vuelta squad, and then Poggy's out of the Vuelta, and then, you know, the contract situation, then Almeida's the leader, but no, you do get to go for your own chances.
Oppositely, this is the moment of fruit for Ayuso. He goes to this Vuelta.
He has
if he
to
doesn't
deliver.
deliver any GC here, then he has no leverage next year.
I don't think these finishes are that good for him.
He's got no choice, buddy.
He's a 10K 7.5%. That's his bread and butter. These ramps, I'm not so sure. Like that, the Vuelta he podiumed, which Remco won, that was a bizarre like joke parkour, right? They did no rampas. They did 3K 11. They did Preres on stage 9.
Preres, yes.
They did Pico Hano, which was like it was like 7%, 20 mins. And then they did another not so steep. And then the week 3 was a joke. There was no Angleroo, Moradero, Bola del Mundo. So I think he's going to struggle.
Yeah, but who's he competing with?
Felix Gall, bro. Felix Gall.
Felix Gall, who is also not a god at these stages.
Yes, he is.
I'm not having that shit.
Do you know how many extra watts Felix Gall has to push on 6% because he sits upright like a scarecrow?
And the benefit is there's no descents where he has to.
Exactly. There's no climbs before.
Yeah.
And
but
there's
it's the second Grand Tour in a row.
I would really like Ciccone. I would really, really like Ciccone for GC because he's like good on the bonies.
I agree.
I think he can follow Vingegaard on the Bilbao stage. He's light, and yeah. Anyway, that's my podium: Gall, Almeida, Vingegaard.
Oh, Carapaz being out changes everything. Man.
I know. I was going to pick Carapaz was my lock for 3. I even might have picked him 2.
Yeah, he was. He would have been. I don't want to pick a fucking cat killer for the podium.
He can't climb. Don't worry.
I keep confirming it. Bernal, I'd love to see it, but I don't see it.
Nah, you can't
Going
get
through the
dropped.
teams here, eh? Derek G.
Again, he's
Parkour
fucking.
Doesn't shout it.
He's big.
He's 2 meters.
It's like even Jorgensen in top shape. Let's say he came in his Paris Dauphiné shape. It's like it's the Angleroo. It's 1K 17% to finish.
Landa's not going for GC. Hindley Pellizzari. Pellizzari could podium this, to be honest, in Giro form.
Nah, he can't. He's too heavy.
You say he can't climb, so
he's too heavy.
You say he can't climb.
He's bigger than Hindley. He's way big. I think
Hindley's form is shit.
That's good.
That's always the case, though. For
that's
Hindley.
Good, though.
That's always the case for Hindley before this fucking more important race.
I think you need Hindley's form to be
I'm gonna fold. Jai Hindley gets third. Almeida gets second. It's boring to put Vingegaard first, though.
Yeah,
but it's likely.
I'm
going for that. Hindley P3, Almeida P2, and Vingegaard P1.
If Hindley turns up in some semblance of shape, I think he has a big chance to come third to podium, and he's way underrated. And maybe he's not in good shape, but he's light. He's light. That's all. I mean, we could have condensed this whole podcast into 5 minutes, Benji, and just said light men, advantage, steep climb, no Google Maps car, Steve Jobs, good for
This
light
did
man.
nothing to do with Steve Jobs either. He's not even alive.
Exactly. So, yeah, Jai Hindley. I'm changing to Jai Hindley and Felix Gold, the spirit of the pure climber third.
Wait. You're gonna switch them.
Yeah, I'm
You
actually
can't have the
switching them.
same podium as
I'm
me.
switching them. It's not even a bit. It's not even a bit. I really think if Hindley is in half decent shape, like,
We can't have the same podium. Come on. Almeida wins the Vuelta ahead of Vingegaard, and Hindley gets third. Fuck it, I've said it.
there you go.
I don't
All
see
right.
how, but we have to change. We can't have the same podium. I'm going to bank on Almeida fanboyism for the next 3 weeks.
What are the stages people really have to watch? I would say Angleroo, of
Every
course.
single one?
That's just not true. I think there's going to be a lot of very shit stages in this Vuelta.
Correction. Every single episode of RCP.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, exactly. Just you can catch up on LRCP afterwards. So there's no
You
need
don't need
to
to watch
watch
any stages.
stages 9 and 10. They've just done the same stage twice for some reason. I have a bone to pick. Yeah, where is the Rampas finish? Like, I mean, a short climb.
Perez.
Yeah, where even like where's the 5-6 minute steep climb? It's kind of, yeah, it's not right. It's not right.
Not right.
It's not right. Okay. Thanks for listening as always. I hope you enjoyed our Vuelta España preview. We're suitably, more relaxed for the Vuelta. I think it'll be a good watch. Some historic climbs, some old climbs coming back that are famous, like Bola del Mundo, Huesca, Mordero. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. We say it's Vingegaard's to lose, but in 2023, it was Vingegaard's to lose and Visma's to lose, and that was the most drama-filled week 3 I think we could have imagined in the Vuelta. Could we have round 2 of that? Has GC Koos been silently preparing?
Chris Jorgensen and Vingegaard attacking each other.
And Tullet. And Kelderman. Dude, Campenaerts was climbing well in the Tour. Get Campenaerts in the break?
I think it's time to round it up.
It's time to wrap it up, but yeah, I really think Vine is going to win like 3 stages if he's in good shape.
Did any of us select Landa for stage 1?
Yeah, I picked him on
okay, good.
a week 2 Farapona, I think.
Nice.
I just don't believe him. I just don't believe these people. Make us believe you. Lose time.
The thing about Mikel Landa is that these Unipuerto stages don't shout Mikel Landa to me.
Yeah, but he's
from break.
I know, and he's not in great shape. But the problem is these people have an addiction. They need to go to counseling. They have an addiction. They have an addiction to GC, and they just cannot. He is like Landa has had an opportunity to lose time and go for stages for 10 years, and why would he stop now?
Especially with such a large GC field.
He's like, first uphill finish. I finished 8th in the GC group. Maybe I just see how it goes. And then. It's like, no, stop. You have. Anyway, thanks for listening as always. We'll see you with the recap of stage 1 this weekend. Thanks to our partners, Join Cycling, Morton and Savella. Until then, ciao, ciao, ciao.